A new era for Iron Man is here, and Joshua Williamson's new run looks really promising. Hey there, my fellow variants, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, drop a like, and let it begin. So the comic opens in the dark, someone's welding together an Iron Man suit. Right away it reminds you of the moment when Tony Stark built his armor in the cave. And then the figure says, "I'm too damn smart to die," and boom, is the Mark 1 armor. He says, "Let's go home, baby," and makes a run for it. He blasts the door open, and outside we see the yellow beekeeper suits, AIM agents, absolutely lighting him up and tearing through the armor, which isn't bulletproof, dropping him hard. And one of them says, "What a waste, the High Council will be disappointed." Then suddenly a voice cuts in, "Enough." And on the next page we see it's Madame Mask, longtime Iron Man antagonist connected to the Magia crime family. So she pulls off his helmet and we finally see the guy's face. He immediately starts begging for his life, promising that he can upgrade the armor, make it stronger, basically giving an Ironheart-like excuse. Stark had better, and before he can finish, Madame Mask shoots him on the spot. As she walks away, she makes it clear that AIM wants another Tony Stark. So it looks like AIM is trying to reverse engineer Iron Man tech or build something even better. Then we cut to what Tony Stark is doing at this exact moment, and he's fighting Blizzard. And this is peak casual Tony. He's literally mentoring the villain mid-fight. Stark asks, "Did you really steal a Roxanne TZ battery to power your armor?" And Blizzard goes, "Yeah, what about it?" And Stark replies, "That model locks up under extreme temperatures and floods the suit with toxic rapid freeze coolant." So yeah, basically the guy whose whole gimmick is ice is basically freezing himself to death. And then Stark says, "Don't worry, I got something to warm you up," and Iron Man blasts him with the repulsor and finishes with, "Listen, your Sub-Zero tech is not bad. You just made one mistake. Next time if you're gonna steal from Stark." Yeah, can't even argue with that. And after that, Tony gets a message from Melinda May, "You're late and I have a gun." So there's a cut to a ceremony for a Tony Stark award and everyone's waiting for him. May is clearly losing patience here. And by the way, if you're new to comics, you might recognize Melinda May from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. series. She's basically warning Tony to show up, preferably without the armor. Basically, people actually want to see the man, not Iron Man. And then boom, we get the most Tony Stark entrance possible. He rolls in on an insanely cool bike and Tony goes, "Look ma, no hands." And the pose, the confidence, it instantly gives off RDJ Tony Stark energy, and for me, goated. He even jumps in with the band like it's rock and roll time, until May drags him backstage and says, "What the hell are you doing?" And since this is the first issue of the reboot, we then get a quick recap of Tony's history, surviving the cave, building the Mark 1, becoming a founding Avenger. There's a really cool retrospective panel showing the first Avengers lineup, like Iron Man in the golden suit, and all this building up the idea that Tony Stark isn't just a hero, he's a man of the future. So on the next page we meet Tony's assistant, and surprisingly it's a guy. Pretty unusual considering Tony normally surrounds himself with the glamorous assistants. So he asks Melinda to do it instead and she immediately shuts him down. "I am no one's assistant. Our lovely post-doom government has tasked me with keeping Iron Man out of trouble." So Tony just brushes it off. "I don't need anyone to prepare my acceptance speech. I'll go out there and give the audience some razzle-dazzle. I'm quick on my feet like that." But little does he know he's not there to receive the award. He's presenting it. So Tony says, "Whose idea was that?" A voice answers, and it turns out to be Pepper Potts. God, I'd love to see those two back together again. And then Pepper introduces the winner, Adam Ware, who's completely starstruck meeting Tony Stark. And Tony goes, "I remember you, the teacher. You specialize in the new educational technologies, finding ways to share masterclasses with people who might not have access. It's genius work using puzzles and problem solving." And he answers, "And I'd love you to come by my classroom sometime. My students could learn a lot from your experiences." So then Tony mentions, "Your tie. My father had one just like it when I was a kid." And Adam goes, "That's funny. My father gave me this one. I can't afford a fancy one on a teacher's salary, you know?" So after that, Pepper nudges Tony toward the stage and he's like, "Wait, I don't have a speech." And Pepper's like, "I heard you are quick on your feet." And here we have an interesting contrast. Melinda May goes like, "Oh no, he's choking." But on the other side, we have Pepper calm as ever, saying, "Nah, give him a second." Sure enough, Tony pulls it together, credits his father, Howard Stark, for everything, announces the winner, the crowd applauds. At the same time, Madame Mask is watching. After the ceremony, we move to the banquet, and we immediately see Tony kind of distancing himself from everyone, which honestly fits his character perfectly. He's not even interested in the fancy food until a waitress shows up with his favorite, a cheeseburger. Now Tony's happy and he asks who she is. She says Luna Lucia, and of course Tony immediately goes into Tony mode. Wanna get out of here? And she's like, just like that? Yeah, just like that. She shuts down him. Sorry, I don't date dangerous men. And Tony goes, oh, you wound me. What makes you think I'm dangerous? And she goes, because I'm always attracted to dangerous men. Tony definitely had this one, but then an explosion hits. It's Madame Mask leading an army of AIM agents, and she takes Pepper Potts hostage. And by the way, one very important rule about Tony Stark is you do not touch Pepper Potts. Tony immediately goes after them, and we find out that cool bike from earlier was actually his armor. But you know, Pepper is still under silk. She breaks free inside the car, jumps out, and Iron Man catches her mid-air. Tony yells then, what the hell, Whitney? Kidnapping? Working with AIM? You know all about mergers. I had a new idea, and AIM has the resources to pull it off. You should be proud. I was inspired by you. Inspired by A New Nightmare, which honestly sounds like a callback to the 5 Nightmares story. Amazing run by Matt Fraction, by the way. I really should make a video on that. Then there's a hiss and she releases gas, and immediately Tony's like, Pepper, get back, and huge explosion happens. And after that, while Tony's putting out the fire, Melinda calls. Pepper was just a distraction. Madame Mask actually abducted the award winner Adam Ware. So we cut to the Madame Mask tying him down. Adam says with trembling voice, I can't do anything for you. I specialize in educational resources, problem solving. And Madame Mask cuts him off. Don't be so hard on yourself. You were handpicked by Tony Stark. AIM expects great things from you. After that, we move to Tony's new workshop bunker. Pepper and Melinda arrive and rock music is blasting, and Pepper goes like, loud rock music means he's upset, and Melinda screams like, I don't care. Turn it down, Tony. How can you even think with it this loud? But of course we know that loud music actually helps him focus. So as they enter, Pepper asks if he figured out about AIM's plan, and Tony starts to explain. Look, listen, learn. Our party was not the only location AIM hit last night. Our yellow beekeepers of chaos made 11 appearances around the world, and all the exact same time. It was a massive, coordinated attack that resulted in multiple kidnappings. Some people were literally taken from their homes. You see the pattern, Pep? And it turns out AIM is kidnapping people Tony personally selected, people he believed were smart enough to work with Iron Man. And here Tony says, this is my fault. And when Tony Stark admits something is his fault, that's when it stops being funny. Without even answering Pepper, Tony flies off and he says, I'm going to find them. Melinda, I need you to gather as much info on AIM from your people as you can. I'm going to visit every single AIM headquarters in the world and beyond until I bring all of them home. And after that, while flying, he calls Steve Rogers on a private line, which is pretty cool. And Tony goes, Steve, I know the Illuminati disbanded, but can you meet me at the old location? And Steve answers, that's a tall order, Tony. And Stark goes, I might have made a mistake. A long time ago, I had an idea, a new nightmare, and I set up certain contingencies in case it happened. And I think AIM has them. I need to talk in person. And Steve says, okay, fine, but meet me in New York instead. Over and out. And then we realize someone else is listening to this conversation. As Steve goes, I take it you all caught that. You were right. We have a problem. Which begs the question, how do we take down Tony Stark? And on the next page, I assume we see the members of this Illuminati group: Reed Richards, Sue Storm, War Machine, Carol Danvers, Amadeus Cho, and Norman Osborn. I saw people debating whether that's Norman Osborn or Harry Osborn, but honestly Harry just is not built for secret organizations, so I'm calling it Norman. So is new Civil War is about to start? Write your thoughts about this comic down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.